Hello and welcome back to another video from me, FPL Crusader. Call me Luke. Today we're doing the Game Week 22 preview. Game Week 21 is just finished. Ahmad has gone crazy in the last few minutes and got a hat-trick against Southampton for Manchester United. So if you owned him, like I did, congratulations. But we've got Game Week 22 in just 24 hours time. So we need to prepare for that. I've got a few stats. We're looking at some injuries, whether or not we need to be concerned about them. It is a quick turnaround, so we can expect some players to be rotated, potentially Raul Jimenez. I'm only saying that because I'm a Fulham fan and I know how Marco Silva works during these time frames. We've also got my grey list and a few other things as well. So let's crack on. Let's look at the injuries. So it says Isak is injured, but as we know, he played. He got 2 goals. His hammy looks to be okay. The issue there is I'm not sure if Wilson's still fit. So who are they going to play there instead? If you own both Isak and Gordon, then it could be a windfall if Gordon plays up front, but I'm not really sure. I think he'll play. He's got 14 goals and assists in the last 8 game weeks. I'm pretty sure he'll play. Saka's out, obviously, 10% owned still, which is interesting. He's got a hammy as well. He's out till game week 28. Funnily enough, if you've watched my chip strategies, which are coming out in the next few days, and there's a few that have already been out, specifically for the free hit, which could be for 29 or it could be for 34. He should be back for that blank game week in 29, and now it's not a huge blank, but Arsenal do have a good fixture, as they do in 34 as well. So just something to keep your eye on and your budget on for Bukayo Saka, because he is over that 10 million mark. He will be out to game week 28. The best replacements for me, it says Odie there, but I probably wouldn't do that. I'd probably go Gordon, and Foden might be playing himself into a bit of form there. Pedro, 17% owned. If you've got him, then you're probably going to stick with him, I'd say. Against the switch, he got a yellow card, had 78 minutes, so you'd expect him to play again if possible. His replacement, Georgina Ruta, got the goal, so that was just unlucky at timing. Those who have held on to Koro Mitoma for weeks, he got a return as well. So I expect Pedro, he'll at least get some game time. I'm not sure if he'll start, but he'll get some game time. Get Jacob Murphy, he looks to be injured now, which could affect Newcastle, because they are playing relatively well. Martinez, that's the best picture. He's injured, but I think he'll play. But Gabby Jesus, he might be done for the year. I think it could be an ACL. That's what I heard on the James show on Planet FPL, Clayton and James show. Clayton, who's an Arsenal fan, he said it might be a season ender, which is a shame for the bloke. I mean, he's not everyone's first choice. He had a purple patch over Christmas, as people like to say. Jesus always comes good over Christmas, but hopefully he'll be on the mend soon. Before we jump off the injury list, let's have a look at the fixtures moving forward. So Arsenal host Villa. That's a tough one for them. If you got either of their defences, that's a 50-50 for me. Chelsea host Wolves. Palmer's a definite captain option there. Who else we got there? Fulham and Leicester. Yeah, maybe. Manchester City, Ipswich. Dare I say Foden could be a captaincy option if you have him. So same with Haaland as well. Liverpool travel to Brentford. Brentford are leaky. Expect Salah to score. Newcastle at home to Bournemouth. Bournemouth are, that should almost be the less red fixture, not the dark red one. I think Bournemouth are just playing out of their skins this year. Hopefully they can continue it next season if they keep their manager. But man, you could see someone like Inter Milan or even Bayern Munich, if it's not working out with old mate, throwing the job at him. He's that good a coach. Forest have Southampton at home. Chris Wood will be ringing in the ears of everyone. So some interesting fixtures coming up. But as I said, because of the quick turnaround, we need to consider minutes. Let's have a look at the shots on target. I've just got the top 10 here. And Brennan Johnson has usurped Bowen as the 10th most shots in the league. He's only got 7 goals, mind you. Haaland's right up there. 16 goals, 66 shots. 2/3 are on target, which is good. Salah's the same. He's probably a bit better than 2/3 on target. He's got those 18 goals. Semenyo has 50 shots, but only 23 on target, so he needs to improve that. If he wants to be considered a viable FPL asset. I don't reckon he does, or a Premier League asset. I think big teams would come from if those numbers were flipped and they're in a greater position in terms of shots on target. Palmer has 14 goals, 30 on target, looking smart there. Watkins has got 8. I think that's actually up to 9 now. That might be my fault. 25 on target, 18 off. Madueke, he needs to get more goals based on his targets. Maybe he's just one of those players. And Isak, shots on target, he scores 50% of the time. This man is in a purple patch of form. If you don't have him, I think it's time to get him. He scored in the last 8. He could be scoring 9 in a row. And we're getting close to Premier League records here. I think Vardy's the top. Don't quote me on how much it is. It's well into double figures, but Isak's still got half the season to go. Can he continue the... All right, the grey list for game week 21. These are 2 goalkeepers that are a lock you should get in your team. One's a risk and one is an avoid. Sells again. If you actually watched the game against Liverpool, he was making outstanding saves. He's getting save points. He's not just getting clean sheets. He's actually a really good keeper. I shouldn't say a lot, but a few goalkeepers can get these points, but you don't actually feel like they're a good keeper. This guy's the opposite. He's really good. 97 points. He is 9 clear of the next best. 63 saves. You can see the purple is 63 saves. That's the same as Pickford, but he does have 2 more clean sheets and 3 less expected goals. But yeah, Nottingham Forest, they've got a plum fixture this week. Just go ahead and get them. If you need to get a goalkeeper transfer, not a lot of people don't get goalkeeper transfers. I personally don't like it. I just think it's frustrating. It's a set and forget thing. And that's what I've done with Pickford this season. The reason why I've got Henderson there is just the plum fixture run. Just looks so good. But Pickford, he got me 1 point because he got a yellow card, but he's still on 88 points. Raya is 3rd on 80, Henderson, and then Onana. I would avoid Onana. Manchester United can't keep a clean sheet. We showed this morning against Southampton that even though they let them score, Judo Ahmad's brilliant hat-trick. 2 of those goals were unassisted too. So, Ahmad, he really saved them there, but they're not keeping clean, so I would avoid Onana. Let's look at the defenders. Obviously, Hall and Munoz are the ones to go for. They're the most attacking. Munoz doesn't really get the points. He had a few injuries, so he's not on the top points. Ola Ayan is up there with 97 and Trent's on 85. Hall's 3rd on 85. For someone that wasn't even short of game time, to be number 3 in the FPL rankings is pretty impressive. What are we looking at here? So goals and assists. Ryan Aitnori, he's the one to avoid because of the bad fixtures. You can see down the bottom there, but he's got the most goals and assists. Munoz and Lewis are pretty good. Aina doesn't get goals and assists. He gets bonus and he gets clean sheets. You can see those clean sheets are 9. But with Lewis, he's getting clean sheets and goals and assists as well. So expect him to make up some ground on Aina. He's got 12 points to get over the next 18. 17 game weeks. So expect him to move up the points. I have Munoz and Hall. Aina was a consideration, but I went Murillo. As you can see, Murillo is not far behind him. He's also missed a game or 2 as well. So in terms of bonus, Murillo is a good shout. If you want to be safe, obviously go with Gabriel, go with Virgil. If you can afford it, go to Trent. But my concern was when I pulled my wild card in game week 21, if I wanted to go Trent, then my midfield would suffer. So the midfield is what we need to focus on moving forward. I think the striker's going to take care of themselves. If you don't have Haaland, you've probably got Isak, you've probably got Woody, and then you've got one of either, at the moment, Mateta or Cunha will be popular soon, Raul Jimenez, Pedro. They relatively take care of themselves. It's the midfielders that we need to get the gains on. I had Ahmad this week. That was pure luck for him to get 3 goals. Gordon is almost, he's not the E word, but you got to have him. And Sar's playing really good. So you got the assist. Expect some more returns to come from Sar. And I expect some returns to come from Rodgers as well. Probably from game week 23 onwards. They're looking really good there, their fixtures. You can jump onto him for 3 weeks and then get off him for a while. But in game week 25, I will be steaming into Brian Mbeumo. I think that you can see from the 13 goals and assists, the 13 goals, the 3 assists, and the XGI, he's well above the others here. The others that are scoring points. If you can afford Salah, Palmer, and Buemo in your team, whether or not you can get Saka as well, that's entirely up to you. You might have to forego Isak or Gordon, but either way, I think come game week 25, we'll all be looking for Brian and Buemo. But as for now, here's a bit of an avoid for me. I know Rodgers has a good fixture or had a good fixture this week, but he did okay. But I'd still hold off until game week 23. Interesting to see that Iwobi and Madison are up there. So regardless of what we expect them to get week on week, they're still churning away. Let's look at the forwards now. Isak is now the number 1 forward in the league. He's got the most points, more than Haaland. Wood's number 3. Mateta's getting up there as well. He's not actually on this list, but he scored a goal, so he's getting better. But look at the XGI for Mateta and Wood. Only 8. They are goal scorers. They don't accumulate XGI like the likes of Wissa does or Watkins. Wissa's unsung hero too. He's got 10 goals, 3 assists, 13 returns in 18 game weeks. It's pretty impressive. He actually got injured a couple of game weeks as well, so it's probably less than that. So the locks for these two are Mateta and Wood. Mateta's a lock probably until 28, and he plays in that blank in 29. So that's interesting. He does play Newcastle, but with so many blanks going around, you probably wouldn't transfer him out. It's just a body there. And I think that Ollie Watkins might be a bridge too far. I said to you about the game week 23 to jump on to Aston Villa. Ollie Watkins might be a bridge too far in terms of budget, especially considering we need to bring in 1.5 million into our budget for these managers. That's the maximum. You can go for a lower rate manager and take a punt on a 0.1 or 0.5, whatever it is, but we need to have 1.5 million budget. Without Haaland, it should be fine, but because we're trying to stack our teams with penalty takers and goal scorers, it could prove a little bit difficult moving forward. Let's have a look at the most. Haven't been as many transfers prior to game week 22 as yet. I'm still 24 hours out. I expect there to be a bit of a rush, but the numbers are well down from last game week. I think a lot of FPL managers that are engaged are taking this time to roll transfers, which makes complete sense. I'm looking to roll 3 or 4 transfers up towards the blanks and the doubles, just so I can have some flexibility there. Having used my wild cards, I think that's the smartest thing to do. But the most transferred in player by a long shot is Chris Wood. People have said that he's the talisman. He's got Southampton at home in game week 22, and sometimes you just don't look a gift horse in the mouth. He's scoring at will. He's in his 30s. This could be his purple patch, and then he's gone next season in terms of form. He's a fellow Kiwi like myself, so I think he'll continue banging in goals no matter where he goes or even if he stays. But I think those bringing in Chris Wood will benefit. I benched him this week. Foolish of me. But we'll talk about that later. Matt Sells, as I said, he's a great keeper. He's the best keeper in the league on form, I believe. And he's at home to Southampton. There has to be a clean 100K. 70K is bringing in Alexander Isak. As I said earlier, the number 1 forward. He's got 8 returns in a row. Can he make it 9? Probably. That 70K will dramatically increase towards deadline. Ola Aina. Now, he's getting up to 5.3 now, so he's getting into low Arsenal territory in terms of pricing. But he is the number 1 FPL asset for defense. So how do you justify it? We've got the best defense in the league. They've got Southampton at home in game week 22, and it's pretty much a locked-in clean sheet. So if you wanted to bring him in for an extra 6 points, it's probably very smart. Gordon, he's returned to the last 9. His price point's a little bit extra. He's pretty much a straight swap for Mbeumo for me at some stage, but I think he will be able to provide your team with a few points. So 50K, a lot of the FPL managers are steaming into him, and that'll continue moving forward. Let's look at captaincy for this week. You notice the absence of Mo Salah. I've got the XGI table up there as well. Maybe going through this will talk me into Salah. But Chris Wood, sorry about that. Chris Wood will be my one of my top captaincy options. Is at home to Southampton. He's scored in the last 3 game weeks. He's not on the XGI table. He doesn't need XGI. He just needs his foot. He needs a goal. He needs the ball, and then he scores. That's all he needs. And against Southampton, who are the worst defense in the league, at home and away, I think he'll do really well. Isak, 8 games in a row, at home to Bournemouth in game week 22. Can he make it 9? Probably. My only concern is that Bournemouth are a much better a much better team than Southampton. So that's why I have a 50-50 over Isak. But I captained him last week and he did really good. Haaland away to Ipswich in game week 22. He probably will score goals this game week, but whether or not he can get there. The honourable mentions, I used to do this with only one. Now it's 3 and HM down to 5. So Palmer was a real consideration at home to Wolves, but now and then Wolves can bring out a defensive, I'm not going to say masterclass, but frustration class. And also Chelsea are in a bad run of form at the moment. There's no spark there. He's scored in the last 2 though, so expect that to continue. But whether or not they will score, that'll affect his points. And Salah is away to Brentford. I've got my bus captaincy on Salah just for default purposes, but I'll have to have a real consideration over that the next couple of days. Excuse me. Let's have a quick look at the XGI before I go, before we get off the screen. Salah, Haaland, Palmer, Isak, Watkins, and Mbeumo. Jackson, Gordon, Wissa, Fernandes. I mean, what more do you need? Salah has almost double half of this field. So everyone from Watkins down has 50% of what Salah has. So why wouldn't you steam into him? He's bound to get some more. I'm still very surprised that Haaland has so much XGI. It's all G, no I. Sorry, it's all G, no A. No assist. Palmer's getting up there. He's about to overtake him. Isak will be there in a sec. And a few game weeks as well. So, yeah, looking at that, if you had 4 of the top 6 in Mbeumo, Isak, Palmer, and Salah, your rank must be pretty good. So, these numbers, while they don't automatically mean FPL points, they do show you who has the most influence and is playing probably the best in terms of the league. One of the people I'm very jealous of on this list is Wissa. I think he's in a purple patch of form. However, if I brought him in now, I think I'll be chasing the points. I think I've missed his really good form, and I'm happy to settle with Brian and Mbeumo in a few game weeks. Let's have a look at the differentials. This week I've gone for Anthony Elanga as my number 1 differential at home to Southampton, 4.4% owned, 3 assists in the last 3 game weeks. Iwobi, the mighty Fulham man, away to Leicester. He's only 7.7% owned, and as we saw in the previous slide, he's in the top 10 for points for midfielders. He had 2 goals last game week. Is he about to go on a run? You never know, but you got to jump on it when you can. Who else we got there? Foden, Leicester away, 5.5%. He had 2 goals last game week. Is he going to go on a run? Is Foden scoring those goals and showing that he wants to be another offensive option? Does that mean that Haaland will become more popular? It could be. They need this 2-pronged approach like they had last season for them to get any in-depth investment. So the issue with Haaland is he was the only focal point, and either Foden wasn't playing, or he had a carry and it hurt his bum, or disciplinary action. He went out in the Terps, or he had kids, whatever it was. There's so many stories flying around. I don't really care. At the end of the day, that it affected City because Haaland was the only focal point for scoring, and if you block him, then you're probably going to lose. Also, their midfield was shocking. Kevin De Bruyne hasn't been playing. Foden hasn't been playing well. So I think now they're about to go on their traditional annual run of just destroying teams. I don't think they're still at a point where they were over the last couple of seasons, but I expect their form and their results to pick up dramatically over the next few weeks. And if you jump on Palmer now, if you jump on Foden now, that could lead to some really good points if he's got it in him. I'm not sure if he wants to do it week on week, but especially 3 days after this last game, they've got a lot of options there, so we'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting to see if De Bruyne plays. That'll be the most interesting one for me. All right, this is how my team is set up for game week 22. I've got triple Newcastle, obviously. I've got double Forest playing this week. The transfer has been rolled. Flappy is to start. It's not here, but it's a question for me. And Salah is the captain. As I said, Salah was the default captain. So Fabianski is at home to Crystal Palace, whereas Pickford is at home to Tottenham, which isn't a plum fixture. Tottenham will score every week. So I'll run through the team. It's Murillo at home to Southampton, expecting a clean sheet there. Munoz away to West Ham. Yeah, that's a concern in terms of West Ham because they didn't play amazingly against Fulham, but they played well enough, and there was a lot of pressure there. They didn't give up a lot of chances. The only chances they actually gave up were from crosses. So maybe. Hall at home to Bournemouth. Gordon at home to Bournemouth. Salah away to Brentford. Savinho away to Ipswich. He got a nice return for me last week. Palmer at home to Wolves. I think Palmer will do well there. Woody at home to Southampton. He's coming into the team. Probably don't need to drop him anytime soon. I can get away with dropping others. Mateta away to West Ham. That'll be interesting. I think he could score against them. And Isak at home to Bournemouth. So I've dropped him mad. He just gave us 3 goals. I've dropped Mad Diallo, but he's at home to Brighton. I expect Brighton to score multiple goals against Manchester United's struggling defense. So that's why I've got a Mad on the bench there. But I might have to rethink that. My question is, who do I get rid of? Might be Sabino or Sabio, however you say it. But he's away to Ipswich, so interesting. Maybe I should put a poll out. I don't know. We'll see how we go. I think I'll leave it like that for now, and then yeah, we'll just leave it like that for now. If Ange has to rotate, then Tottenham will play Werner and other players that can't score. So maybe Pickford's right and goal. In terms of Diallo, he wouldn't get benched, would he? Masraouy's on the bench, so is Kanate. I went to Brentford because I expect Brentford to score. Kanate's not an offensive threat, so I expect him to concede goals, and that won't give me any upside. So I don't see the point in playing him yet, but he is there for the double, and also they've got some good fixtures coming up. I think that's how the team's going to sit right now until I second guess panic myself around deadline time. But that's how we're looking. Expected points 63 on FPL team. If you're not using FPL team for your planning, you're probably losing. So go on and give it a crack. Thank you very much for watching my Game Week 22 preview. I hope it helped, and I hope you are going to get some green arrows this week and your differential score hat tricks. If you got any feedback or questions, just drop me a line, drop me a message. I'll happily respond to you. Thank you for watching. My name is Luke, FPL Crusader. Thanks.